How you doing, YouTube land? This is Ivan from freedomfromtheknown.com. Today what I would like to do is talk about language learning and how possibly we can learn languages more rapidly and more efficiently. So I hope to share some methods and provide some insights that I haven't really heard anybody in the language community talk about as far as learning in general and being able to develop stronger memories that will definitely help in learning a new language. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is tDCS, and that stands for transcranial direct current stimulation. And basically it's just using a small device that sends a small electrical current to some electrodes and then placing those electrodes on certain parts of the brain. Here's my little device right here. And how you stimulate the brain is either through the positive, which is anodal stimulation, or through negative, which is cathodal stimulation. And since I'm learning a language, I have chosen in particular to focus on the left side of the brain, which is known as Wernicke's area. It's in the temporal lobe. This is the area associated with language processing, language learning, and memory development. So what I like to do is I like to use tDCS while I'm learning my vocabulary list, and I like to use memorize.com, and on my smartphone I use AnkiDroid, my flashcard program. So I do a 20 to 30 minute session on my tDCS machine, and that's a pretty good time frame for me to review my lists and really absorb and refresh my mind on a lot of the words that I'm learning right now. If you are interested in tDCS, please do your own research, because you are zapping your brain with a mild electrical current, so please do your due diligence. From my research, I found it to be quite safe, and I haven't experienced any negative effects yet, but please be careful. And in the next part I want to talk about is how I use tDCS and memorize.com to learn vocabulary as fast as possible. But first I need to digress a little bit and talk about how usually we learn how to be effective learners and how to focus. You know, the better you can focus and the better the quality of your attention. If you are really in the moment and focused and have complete self-awareness of yourself when you're studying, you are going to create stronger memories, just because by being in the moment you're able to recall information a lot better. The problem that I see now is that the type of society that we live in and just the lifestyles that we have, I see it with kids a lot, and just everybody in general, but increasingly with kids, because they are growing up in this type of world, is their attention is very poor. You know, everybody seems to have ADHD and ADD problems, and that really impairs one's ability in absorbing new information. And I want to talk about just self-awareness and how to improve and how to become more aware and self-aware. Typically, our attention is like an arrow. Like the average person is just like an arrow, just one point. Like say there's an object in front of me, like a flower or whatever, and I observe this flower. Usually where my attention is where I am, and what that usually causes me to do is I lose my sense of self. My awareness becomes externalized and I am more out there, let's say. So what you need to learn to do, and what meditation does, is you need to learn to divide your attention and make it like a double arrow, meaning to be able to put 50% of your attention on the object you're observing, and then 50% on yourself, let's say on your body, because your body is always in the now. So if you focus just on the sensation of your body and always remembering who is observing. So by doing that, making your attention double arrow, what happens is that you create like a triangle where you become more centered in yourself. That centered presence becomes the triangle, you're witnessing self. And what that does is it grounds you more in your body, and then you're able to just be more in tune with your environment, and then also always having like intuitively and sensing yourself in the moment So what happens is when you learn to process the world more like that, you start developing a second type of memory, meaning that as you observe something, you also learn to remember yourself as you're observing. So, and just to give you an example of this is many people when they were younger, when we were younger, we were able to experience the world more like this. Like some of your most vivid memories and vivid moments of where you felt like, say, timeless, is when you were processing the world like this. And usually those type of memories, you can recall everything about the moment, like the sounds. You can remember the people that were there. You can just recall any little detail because you were really centered in yourself. Your awareness was more internalized. And now what's happened as you get older and grow up, you become more externalized. So learning to just become more aware, and that's why I recommend you meditate and you pick up a spiritual practice or whatever draws you. You know, we all have different affinities towards different things. For me, I like meditating, and in particular, I like Raja Yoga, and that's basically learning how to master your attention, and learning how to really observe yourself in all moments. And how that translates into learning a language is, like I was mentioning before, you start to learn to recall and really sense everything around the moment. And when you're studying, you are able to absorb this information a lot more efficiently. And let's say at the end of the day, I'm able to rewind my day, and I'm able to place myself in that moment when I was learning, and all the vocabulary and all the things I was learning start to flood my consciousness. And so basically, when I'm viewing my computer screen and I am doing a session on memrise.com, that's what I'm doing is I like to meditate before and get a really calm state of mind, because the more receptive you are and the more calm your mind is, the more you're going to be able to absorb this information. So when you're doing your little study session, make sure that you try to remain in your body. Don't forget who is studying, like what is the awareness that is cognizing this information. So when you have your screen, make sure you divide your attention, and the more you do that, the better that you're able to absorb this information, and the better you're going to recall later on and build stronger memories. So those are just a few of the insights I wanted to talk about. Please leave me a question on anything that I talked about, and maybe I'll write up a blog post, a more detailed blog post. And I hope you found that insightful. Sign up for my website, sign up for my channel. I'll put some useful links down below. And thanks again. Have a great day, and good luck on your language journey.